So, the overall state of Nintendo news is something I've been highly critical of throughout 2020. Just overall, this year has been incredibly weak. Yes, COVID has certainly played a major role in that, but Nintendo's lack of news this year has been much more apparent than other companies. But luckily for them, third parties exist. The last Direct that featured Monster Hunter with the announcements of Monster Hunter Rise and Monster Hunter Stories 2 I thought was phenomenal. And today they stealth dropped the last Nintendo Direct partner showcase of 2020, which I think is also their best general partner showcase of the year. So let's talk about the highlights. It kicked off with a new look at Bravely Default 2, a game that many had brought up to me when I talked about the rest of the outlook for 2020 releases, because I haven't been mentioning it, and that's because I didn't see any way this game was going to make its 2020 date with the way things had been so silent on it over recent months. And shocker, it's not coming in 2020. It'll be coming out in February of next year. Just with the demo that came out all the way back in March, I think the game looks great. I'm excited to play it. I think it's cool that they featured specifically in this presentation that they've been taking feedback from the demo very seriously and are releasing a more in-depth video on the specific changes they're making based off the feedback they got, which is fantastic. And that's an awesome aspect of demos, betas, and the like. You can get that genuine feedback from players on the game before it's released. So, really good stuff there. Then we got the announcement of a new Story of Seasons game, Pioneers of Olive Town, coming hot on the heels of Friends of Mineral Town, the Switch version at least. If you're unfamiliar with these games, these are essentially the good Harvest Moon games. If you've played a Harvest Moon title in recent years and been like, wow, this kind of sucks, it's because it's not Story of Seasons, which is the true Harvest Moon experience. It's a whole thing I'm not really going to get into, but they're great farm games. If you're an Animal Crossing player, let's say, who wishes there was more depth to the farming and cultivating aspects, you may want to check these out. Then we were treated to what is, I think, the first Switch gameplay for Immortal Fenyx Rising that I've seen. I don't know if there's been specific Switch gameplay for this title released yet, but pretty sure I haven't seen it. This is that Ubisoft game that has been panned a bit for being, let's say, heavily inspired by Breath of the Wild. Even the initial trailer that had no gameplay, people were like, oh, so this is going to be like Breath of the Wild. And many people at that time were like, no, we didn't even see gameplay yet. And then the gameplay comes out and it looks even more like Breath of the Wild. But it's not like that's a bad thing. I think you want great games to inspire other ones. And I'm digging the mythology angle they're going with. Looks like that's going to offer up some really cool enemy designs and locations. Graphically, looked pretty good, I thought, for being the Switch version. And the game's coming out on December 3rd, so that's a title that will be here still in 2020, so you can add that one to the list. Then we got some announcements that are kind of concerning to me, honestly. Hitman and Control, the game that won all those Game of the Year awards last year that nobody played, are both coming to Nintendo Switch via cloud gaming. As the trailers for the games played, a message popped up on the screen saying something like, consistent high-speed internet connection required. We haven't talked about cloud games on Switch for a while because it hasn't really come up much lately. But yeah, I really don't like the idea of being restricted with the Switch, games requiring you be in range of a high-speed internet connection. I think that kills a lot of the draw of the Switch. A lot of the times, even at home on Wi-Fi, things can get spotty, if you don't have a hard-wired connection. So even in your home, you may have issues playing in handheld mode. And it's like if you're in a situation where your internet's only good enough when you're playing through a wired connection, it's like you've lost all of the benefits of the Switch, and you may as well just play it on a console at that point. I do like the cloud gaming idea with things like xCloud, where you can play your Game Pass games through streaming because it's just like a little bonus there. But the idea of paying, let's say, full price for these games just to stream them, yeah, I'm not a huge fan of it. And I do worry, especially going forward with the launch of the Series X and PlayStation 5, that going forward when the Switch does get major multi-platform support, it may end up looking more and more like this, just getting cloud games. I mean, I don't really see another way around it, of course, besides a hardware upgrade. I mean, with how poor the current state of multi-platform games are on the Switch, I mean, how often do we see major AAA multi-plat games? It's not like things are going to get better when the next-gen consoles come. But enough with that depression. Things went way uphill from here. We got a new look at No More Heroes 3, which was sadly recently delayed. This was another one that was originally slated to come out in 2020, but got pushed into 2021. But we got surely what is the best make good you could get in this situation. Both No More Heroes 1 and 2 were announced for Nintendo Switch, and also stealth dropped on the system today. So you can go and play those games right now if you want. And I highly recommend you do. Some of the most fun action games ever made, in my opinion, and there's no better way to get primed for the arrival of No More Heroes 3. And then the show closed out with a new trailer for Age of Calamity that featured Divine Beast gameplay, I guess, in a series focused on running around smashing waves and waves of enemies. Makes sense for you to get in control of the Divine Beasts and really wreak some havoc. And the big thing with this trailer was the announcement of a demo for the game that also released today. So players can go give the game a shot and see if it's for them. I'm extremely interested to see what feedback from the demo is like, as I'm sure many will at least give it a go. The lore implications with this game, acting as a prequel to Breath of the Wild, is definitely the main selling point for it. And I think for many, the Warriors gameplay style is more of a turnoff. I personally find it to be fun fan service, but I know many feel otherwise. The thing is, though, with this demo allowing people to just try it for free, I'm sure there are many who haven't actually played them themselves yet, so I'll be curious to see if people go into this demo thinking, oh, I'm just going to watch the cinematics and that, I'm not going to buy this game and play it, and then after giving it a shot, actually feel like they want to buy it after spending time with the demo. Yeah, I think that'll be interesting to see. So that's about all I wanted to go over with this Direct that surprised us today. Great stuff overall. Quite a few things that released today, which you can never go wrong with. The cloud stuff was pretty not epic for me, but it's not like those announcements are going to drag down everything else. If this thing was like centered around the cloud games, you would be getting more of a rant from me, but no, I'm not going to hate on this presentation. And most importantly, it seems like things are continuing to ramp up in terms of Nintendo Switch news and releases. The 2021 release calendar is becoming even more clear as we see more games get firm release dates, which is great. It's making it seem, at least to me, like next year will be pretty much a 180 from this year, which is exactly what I'm hoping for. Anyway, with that, this video's a wrap. Let me know your thoughts on this latest Nintendo Direct Partner Showcase in the comments. What were the highlights for you? And how do you think Nintendo closed out the last Nintendo Direct Partner Showcase of 2020? Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed this discussion of the latest Nintendo Direct. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. And if you want to keep the conversation going, hit me up on Twitter at Johnny Zakari. And join my Discord, ChiGuy and Friends. Link to both in the description below. And as always, thanks for watching.